The geography is different now. It is not only about the Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republic, but also about Kherson's region and Zaporizhia region, and a number of other territories. And this process is continuing consistently and persistently.
Covering this story for us today is France 24's Nick Holdsworth, and he's on the line now. Nick, your reaction then to those comments from Lavrov, because many Ukrainians would point out that this war has been fought across the country for months now, and certainly not limited to the Donbass region.
This is certainly a response to the supply of heavy weaponry, which is beginning to make an impact and a difference in that war. It's interesting that Lavrov singled out not only the Donbass, but the Kherson and Zaporizhia regions, because, this morning, a key bridge, one of two crossing the Dnieper River, which gives access to Russian troops from Kherson to the Donbass region, was badly damaged by Ukrainian shelling, almost certainly using some of those long-distance artillery pieces which the West are beginning to supply. It's also interesting that Lavrov chose to set out this new policy of apparently expanding what was initially seemed to be a full-scale war in Ukraine. Then they contracted after they withdrew from Kiev in the face of fierce resistance from the Ukrainians. And now they're saying they're expanding again. He gave these comments to the editor-in-chief of RT, which is the Russian propaganda channel. He was speaking with Margarita Simonyan. Now, she is a key propagandist for the Russian state. And so he's not just making a policy announcement, he's actually putting it out through the propaganda channel, which is widely read in the West, widely seen and received in the West as well. And he seems to be making a kind of concealed threat, really. What he's basically saying is that the West is up in the ante by giving weapons to Ukrainians. He carefully avoids saying the Ukrainians have been asking for those weapons in response to Russian aggression in a war on their territory. And at one point, he also said our US and British colleagues, with the support from the Germans, the Poles, and the Baltic states, very much want to make this war a real war, pitting Russia against European countries. And he went on to say that the Russians were determined to ensure that the Ukrainians couldn't hit the territory of those so-called independent republics in Donetsk and Luhansk, or Russian territory, which suggests that the Russians want to push much further westward into Ukraine to create a buffer to protect themselves from these long-range weapons. Now, of course, this heavy response they're beginning to see as those weapons begin to arrive is all down to their aggression against Ukraine. But this message was both aimed at the Ukrainian leadership. He mentioned Volodymyr Zelensky, the Ukrainian president, saying whether it's Zelensky we're dealing with or whoever replaces him, this will be our policy. And he appears to be saying that the Russians are going to have a much more aggressive new stage of the war coming up, which has actually been anticipated for quite a while already. And we may remember that only yesterday, the deputy head of the Security Council in Russia, Dmitry Medvedev, the former prime minister, also said that there would be peace eventually, but only on Russia's terms. It's an uncompromising position, but again, this could be expected. It does seem those supplies of Western weapons are beginning to rattle the Russian cage.
All right, Nick Holdsworth for now. Thank you very much.